You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Let's discover hardcover month, but this enough so you can know what's up in the hood.
Art has always been a way for people to express themselves. Arts education has always been deemed as important, but it's always been treated as otherwise. Rahm Emanuel and other CPS officials promised that all students across the city would receive an education in the arts. In 2014, Raise Your Hand Illinois conducted a survey and collected data from about 170 Chicago public elementary schools. They discovered that 65% of those schools don't offer the minimum 2 hours of arts education per week.
My name is Gregory Buckner. I'm 17. I go to Shy Arts.
My name is Zion, and I am a dance major.
Tyler Jackson. I'm 17 years old. I go to the Chicago High School of the Arts.
My name is Armani Howard. I am 22 years old. I am a working artist.
With dance, there are different types. So each type, I dance in contemporary, modern, jazz, and lyrical. And in those dances, my emotions, they influence my moves. So that's how I express myself.
I feel like throughout any style I use, like painting, drawing, illustrating, or anything graphic, color is usually something that's very consistent. I usually consistently use the same color palette to enforce my ideas.
Get in the idea of what my style is, one, but then also just experimenting with it and experimenting with the influence of other styles, experimenting with just all the different types of art that's out there, because within it goes back into your own work. So if you go out into the world and you experience new things, and I kind of use that loosely, it doesn't actually have to be just painting. It could be food, it could be music, it could be someone's culture, that's all art. So if you go out and you experience as many of those different things as you can, then that's going to eventually influence your art, because you're now taking in so much new stuff that you can take inspiration from. You're taking so many new factors of the world that you're living in to experience the work itself and just art. If that was the mindset we had for everything, the things around us we wouldn't have. We wouldn't have cameras, we wouldn't have planes, we wouldn't have any of that stuff.
I get a little bit upset because with art, you're supposed to express yourself.
What am I supposed to be doing then? If I'm not doing this, is there something I should be doing?
I really don't care what anybody else say, because if you want to do it, you should do it, because it's your life. It's all about you. It's not about what anybody else thinks about you.
That's also why I chose dancing, because with dance, there are no limitations, and I can express myself in any other way.
I'm not gonna conform to what I'm supposed to be doing, because that's an idea that doesn't really exist.
So it's kind of goes into a whole nother story of things, but it's just that person's personal fear. And they don't do that in their own life. So yes, because you are both in the same world of things, if you want to try something that you think that, yes, it may be a lot of work, just do it. Just try it. That's, I don't know, that's just to me, that's just the most demeaning thing you could do to someone. If someone's trying to do something that, just because it's not the conventional way, yes, it's not science, you can blow something up if you don't chemically do it right. But besides that, you should be able to try anything. Just because you're at a certain level doesn't mean that you can't just keep shooting for something bigger, because then it's what are you going to do at that point?
What inspired me to dance was when I was 5 years old, and I was in my first recital. I guess after that, I always wanted to be a dancer. And since I was told I couldn't say certain things growing up and I couldn't do such things growing up. I chose dance because with dance, I can do whatever I want and no one can tell me what I can and can't do.
Like, just looking at different stuff on the media, like, if I really like to see what they're doing and I really want to go for it, it like inspires me to actually like push myself to do it, because I just feel like we can do anything that we put our mind to. So, and what really inspires me is myself, to be honest, because I believe I can do whatever I want. So, yeah.
At first, it was just like the possibility of like what I can do. Seeing like a painting for the first time, seeing like artwork for the first time, and just like realizing that like a human did that. And I don't know, I just don't want to make this seem like it's very cheesy, but like at this point now it's like completely different. I want to like see how many people I can like positively influence in the world.
When I was younger, my elementary school didn't have art class for at least 5 years. So, and I really didn't have like a lot of people in my school didn't have a lot of experience with art, and art can portray your feelings in so many different ways.
It was kind of cheesy though. It was like you use Crayolas and like that. Even now, I've gotten older and I've been able to appreciate those like those materials, because like, yeah, it's color pencils. It's still something you can create artwork with, but like we also had art teachers that weren't very like thought-inducing. Like they weren't like, it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, here's some construction paper, here's some crazy scissors, some glue and color pencils, have fun. And like, yeah, it almost becomes like, it almost just becomes like a joke. Like the way school approaches art, it's like a joke the way they treat it. So we did, but I wouldn't, now that I know what art is, I wouldn't consider it an art class.
When I was in elementary school, I had an art class pretty much from when I started until I was in about the 7th grade, when I guess like CPS, like budget got cut or whatever. So like, I've had an art class for a majority of my life. There were like maybe 2 or 3 years where I didn't, because, you know, since I go to art school, I kind of have that extra education. But outside of that, no, not really. Yeah, I feel like school should provide an arts education, like even not just in art, but like bring back art classes and like dance classes, like music classes, just because I feel like if kids who like, there are a lot of kids who aren't exposed to like those type of things, and if they had that exposure, then they would feel, you know, more open to express themselves, and they would be less into like social media and like stuff that kind of distracts you from the world outside. Like I feel like art classes would just help you gain an appreciation for kind of like the world around you.
At least like get the idea of like what you can do with art and like what's the possibilities of it. There should be more of like a realistic focus of it. The only thing is that a lot of people, like a lot of teachers and instructors, like it's kind of sad because like art is a very like, it should be a very unbiased and open thing, but a lot of like art teachers can tend to be very limiting. Like once like a younger artist or just anyone who's younger, they just think that it's like you can only do so much at that point in time. And like, yes, that's true, your art gets refined over time. You become more experienced and become better the older you get. But it's just limiting if like you're shooting for the stars at a very young age to like mold that, so that way when you do get older, you're even better than what you were when you were younger. Like it should be mandatory almost. Like as much as we have like gym and like math and all those things, it should definitely be mandatory, but it should be refined and like, I don't know, they should just go back to the drawing board with it and just like treat it as if it was one of those other classes.
People have always had different ways of expressing themselves, and within those communities, boundaries have been set, thus holding them back and telling them that they can't work outside of their chosen medium. The people shown here are not bothered by what people say and do it anyways because it's what they love to do. Hopefully, city officials will one day recognize how much of an impact art can have on a student.
Art is like, it's kind of like at this point in time it's like undermined and like how powerful it is, but you can like change someone's life with art. Someone can look at something and can be from a certain area, and like just because they looked at something that they didn't understand and it touched them, they're now influenced to like want to go do something.
I've always known I was different. I've never exactly fit in. Is it the clothes I wear? Been this way all my life. If I were to compare myself to something, it would be art. Weird and different like me. Art is not just pen and pencil, mindless lines and strokes. Art is an expression, feeling and emotion. The Cloud Gate downtown was a British sculpture and Anise Kapoor's first outdoor piece. It was meant to mirror the Chicago skylines and was shockingly inspired by liquid mercury. I was looking at the Cloud Gate one day, like I do every Tuesday, and I met someone. I don't know, but I call him Bark. After that, we kind of started touring the city together. Just a couple of steps away was Crown Fountain, so we decided to go. Crown Fountain is a great example of interactive art and fits into the uncommon category of video sculpture. Jaume Plenza has promoted interactions between people and water, distinguishing Crown Fountain from Chicago's and many other fountains. Plenza had been working with dualism for a long time, but he had also wanted to introduce the use of video technology, seen in some of his previous pieces. With doing so, he had hoped to overcome the obstacles of creating an interactive relationship between the viewers and the art, and was amazed to discover he had achieved that when it became a public water park for children within the hours of opening. Our last destination was a sculpture on the Bloomingdale Trail called Brick House. It was completely made out of recycled rubber, tires, and stainless steel. Its creator, Chikaya Booker, meant to combine ecological concerns with racial and economic differences, globalization, and gender. While we were at Brick House, Bark noticed something sticking out from within a spiral. It was a person. It also shared the same passion Bark and I have for art, so it joined us. Now that I think about it, I may not be as alone as I thought I was. I mean, even the creators of the public art piece I mentioned earlier experienced a lot of judgment concerning their work, so maybe I'm simply looking at the downside of things. After going to several public exhibits, I've met people who like me for me. I guess we're all a little different. There are a lot of people around the city who hope to share their aspirations, who are not known to many, and despite that, they still aim to create their art.
My dad was really talented. He used to paint motorcycles, and he kind of like instilled this whole like be a good draftsman, good work, like things need to make sense, like, and that kind of just like radiated, and I kind of pursued it from there and kept drawing and kept working, went to school, and then from there, I actually started working at ASM as an intern, and then my career kind of just went from there.
I guess I got involved in art early on, being poor as hell in the hood with nothing, and you had to like just, you know, crayons and paint and markers, and you just express yourself on the street, and that's how it wasn't art, it was just expression. You know, I didn't know it was art until someone told me it was art.
Man. It breaks down to like designers. They design buildings, there's murals, there's color, there's like all these things that maybe you don't think about every day, but all these things are thought out, and they're usually behind it is a creative person. And it's just me as a creative person, I would want to see more of that and like more people to be excited about it, or like community projects or things that just sort of bring people together. And then you look and you're like, wow, that's nice. It's great to see something that kind of inspires people to be like, man, I could probably do something like that.
I think Chicago is my most influence. This is the city where I live. This is the city where I play. This is the city where I laugh and cry. A lot of my artwork is a representation, is a expression of how I live in the city. So I think the city is a big part of my art. It's a way to give back to it, and it's a way to describe to other people how I see my city. A combination between my brain and my heart. It's about the passion that I'm a part of, and it's about the thought process that got me my passion. It's about melding what I think is important to what I feel needs to be said.
As important as it is, it seems like it's always an afterthought. But almost everything revolves around the chair I'm sitting in, this building, you know, the colors that they picked on the walls. Like, it's all somebody going like, ooh, this could look nice if we did this. And I just wish that more people were into it the way that I feel about it. But it's hard to sort of project that. And when actually making the actual piece of art isn't the hard part. The hard part is getting started, like figuring out the direction, figuring out like the message that you're trying to convey or the vibe. Those are that's the most time consuming part. Like actually doing the work or putting the mural up is the easiest part because you're just not even thinking, you're just putting things together.
Don't be afraid. I think that's one of the hardest things to overcome, and it's fear of success, and it's fear of failure, and it's a fear of belonging, and all those things are ways. Art helps you develop those things where you can get comfortable with them. I think young people at the same time have a fearlessness about the city, but they have a fear about the future. And I think art can bridge that.
And you just decide like, all right, how can I make this even weirder or more fun, and then build off of it, and then other people see it and they're like, okay, like there's a little bit of versatility and personality and things that you can kind of use to add to the whole overall character itself. And basically I took it as one thing at a time and one bridge at a time, and just tried to figure out like, what can I do next? How can I sort of pursue this, or how could I help somebody out? Or I would put myself out there, and it was all just the people from the city, and I couldn't be happier to be here and work with like people who've done art, like Chicago Public Art Group, or like they would show me little things, and I feel like I learned more being in the city around people than I did when I went to school for it. So if anything, that would probably be what sort of had a lasting effect on me.
So create your art, whether it's dancing, singing, painting, or sculpting, as long as you're doing what you want to do.
I am the best dressed, but I have a relentless drive for progress. So look at me and make progress. Low key, I'm kinda hungry, but if you look at me, we need unity. This country's falling.
let's get some of that shit. Okay.
The art of skateboarding.
Art of skateboarding.
The art of skateboarding?
The art of skateboarding. This program, well, it's mainly one thing is to get to know each other.
My name is Michelle.
My name is Gerardo Arroyo. My name is Edwin Abreu.
I'm Gregory Buckner, and I'm 17.
I'm 17 and my name is Anna. I'm 16 years old.
I'm 18 and I'm 17.
I'm Caesar and I'm 20 years old.
My name is Jumba Gonzalez. I'm the lead instructor for this After School Matters program here at Clemente High School during the summer. It's called the Art of Skateboarding. And what we're doing is teaching teens the basics to filming, editing, and skateboarding.
Because there's like a whole other like science to it, you know, and it's a little hard to grasp it if you don't skate.
So how he got it set up is basically we got a section of skaters, got a section of filmers, and we got sections of editors. And like every day we like branch off and like try to make one big video for the ending process.
The program is more for, when I started doing the ASM program, I was doing what was called the club, because I'm always trying to tell kids, skateboard because you love it, not because you're trying to get sponsored, not because you're trying to be pro. Just do it because that's what you want to do, you know? And that's, I don't know, that's the way I grew up. And I couldn't justify like paying a kid to skateboard because I felt like it was like going against what I was trying to like teach, you know? But then eventually came up with the concept of, well, not every kid is gonna be pro, but there's still tons of viable careers within the skateboard community. So then that's when I started doing an apprenticeship program. We started off doing basically the basics of carpentry, lamination, and graphic design, but instead of making tables or chairs, we're making skateboards from scratch. And then they work together in groups to create a graphic series. And they have to learn how to compromise, they have to learn teamwork, they have to learn all these, they have to learn how to articulate themselves so they can get their ideas across. And it just works. So I've been doing that for quite a few years. But then it's summertime. Look at how beautiful it is. Who wants to be inside? We have to be inside for that program. So I switched it up, and during the summer we're doing videography because we could be outside. Some of it's inside, obviously, with editing, but yeah, the majority of our time we get to go out, visit different skate parks.
Oh, when I first started, I was kind of shy, you know, because I got to meet people I didn't really like hang out with, you know, like the type of people. And at first I was really shy, but because of ASM, I got into like, I really got the idea of trying to learn and trying to meet other people, you know, like with different styles and all that. So yeah, it's pretty good.
I grew up here in Humboldt Park and doing stuff here in the community. If you've ever seen one of the little kids back here in the rear of the plaza at Clemente Skateboarding, that's my story. That's who I am. I am that little kid. I just grew up and haven't let go of that little kid. It's still in me. I still love skateboarding and Skateboarding's been something that's taken me all over the planet. Through skateboarding, I've been able to live in different countries, different cities, meet the most incredible people. And I'm back home in Chicago, so trying to spread the good word and like let other kids know about how much fun it is and what you can do with it.
I've been skating for like 5 or 4 years.
I've been skating for, I think, 4 years now. Yeah, I started when like 7th grade, so it's probably my 5th year skating.
Like a year.
I've been skating for 6 to 7 years.
I've been skating for a couple of years. I would say around like 4.
I've been skating for about 6 years, and it's pretty fun, you know. It's pretty fun.
I like skateboarding because it's not a team like sport. So if I fail, it doesn't affect anyone else, and it's mostly just on me.
It's like a way I can express myself, and it's something I do for fun. It's just a great way for me to kind of be myself and have fun.
It's important for me despite the money. It's important to me because it gets me off the street gangs and all that stuff, and it gets me into business, you know, learn something new instead of just being at home playing video games every day.
Growing up in the neighborhood, it's real easy to get caught up in stuff in the neighborhood. Breakdancing and skateboarding, those are the kind of things where you get thirsty and you want to leave your neighborhood. You've already battled everybody in your neighborhood, so you start looking for other people to battle. You've already skated all the curbs or benches in your neighborhood, so went from Humble Park to Logan Square. And the next thing you know, I found out about downtown, and once you go downtown, there's such a huge scene, you realize like skateboarding is global. You're meeting people not just from different parts of the city, but from like all over the world, because downtown has like, we have one of the best downtowns for skateboarding. It's like a marble metropolis. It's amazing.
I think skateboarding is really important to me because it keeps me out of trouble, and it helps me be responsible, and it helps me have something in mind and keeps me busy.
This program impacted my life really, like for a big part of my life because of this program. I got into art, and I've been having art shows, and I've been doing art projects, and I've been skating a lot. So if it wasn't because of this program, I wouldn't have met certain people, and those people got me opportunities. So it's become a really big part of my life right now. So far, you know, I'm still kind of young, but
to be honest, skateboarding saves lives in a way because like where I grew up, I live in Inglewood, so I could have been doing a lot more other stuff than skateboarding. So I can say that skateboarding can like change some people's lives because it changed a lot of people. I want to say mine specifically, but it changed a lot. So yeah.
It's rad because kids come from literally every pocket of the city because there's no other program like this.